Hi everyone! Welcome back to The Wrangler. If you thought the Yellowstone universe couldn't get any deeper or more intense, think again. With 1944 on the horizon, the Dutton family saga is about to take an even darker, more dangerous turn. Unanswered questions, mysterious time jumps, and family betrayals are all circling like predators, and fans are scrambling to uncover the truth. Could we be on the verge of witnessing the Duttons' most brutal chapter yet? Stick around because today we're breaking down the juiciest theories, exploring the fate of your favorite characters, and piecing together what could shape the future of this legendary family. You won't want to miss it. The mystery of Spencer's wife. Will we meet a new Dutton matriarch in 1944? One of the biggest questions heading into 1944 is, who's standing by Spencer Dutton's side? After the tragic loss of Alex in 1923, we're left wondering if Spencer ever found love again, and more importantly, whether the future matriarch of the Dutton family has already been hiding in plain sight. If 1944 picks up with Spencer as the head of the ranch, or at least a central figure, there's a huge possibility that Sheridan introduces a brand new character, a second wife. Someone who could shape not just Spencer's life, but the entire next generation of Duttons. This potential new matriarch could bring major shifts to the Dutton family dynamic. Imagine a strong, no-nonsense woman who helps run Yellowstone during World War II, keeping the ranch afloat while the world burns around them. She wouldn't just be a background character. This is Taylor Sheridan, after all. She'd have grit, maybe a mysterious past, and her own set of secrets that challenge the traditional Dutton legacy. And depending on how early 1944 is set, she could even be raising the next generation, maybe John's younger brother or other children we haven't met yet. What's even more interesting is how her presence might stir tension. Would Spencer still be haunted by Alex's memory? Would this new relationship be one of love, duty, or even survival? It opens the door for deep emotional storytelling, conflict, healing, and possibly even betrayal. Sheridan loves writing complicated relationships, and introducing a new Dutton matriarch could be the emotional core of 1944. So the big question remains, who is she? Has Sheridan already hinted at her in subtle ways, or will she be a total surprise? Either way, if there's one thing we've learned from the Yellowstone universe, it's this. Every Dutton has a story, and the women beside them often carry just as much weight. Get ready, because 1944 might just introduce a character who changes everything. Spencer's son's future in 1944. The Yellowstone universe never stops expanding, and with 1923 setting the stage for the next generation of Duttons, all eyes are on Spencer. And more importantly, the son who may carry his legacy. As we look ahead to Yellowstone, 1944, fans are buzzing with one big question. Could Spencer's son be the future of the ranch, or the beginning of its unraveling? Spencer Dutton has been through fire, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and that kind of pain doesn't fade, it echoes through bloodlines. If his son does appear in 1944, we're looking at a character forged by war, wilderness, and a father haunted by everything he's done to protect his family. This child wouldn't just be another Dutton, he'd be a symbol of survival, carrying both the strength and scars of Spencer's journey. Imagine a young man shaped not only by cowboy grit, but also by global conflict and personal loss, the perfect storm for Sheridan to play with. Here's where things get really interesting. Could Spencer's son become the reluctant heir? The Dutton who doesn't just fight to protect the ranch, but questions whether it's even worth saving. If Sheridan follows the emotional threads he's already laid out, we could see a Dutton who's torn between honoring his father's sacrifices and forging his own identity. That inner conflict could redefine the family's legacy and bring a whole new kind of drama to 1944. Because let's be honest, no one escapes the Yellowstone Ranch unchanged. Will we see an older Spencer in 1944? Spencer Dutton is one of those characters who leaves a lasting impression, but will we see him in 1944? If the timeline matches up, Spencer would be in his 50s or 60s by then, making him a seasoned veteran of both adventure and tragedy. It's hard not to wonder how his experiences, from the brutalities of war to his survivalist escapades in Africa with Alexandra, might shape the man he becomes. Seeing an older Spencer could add immense depth to the story. He's witnessed so much loss, including the deaths of his family members, and yet his resilience and fierce loyalty to the Dutton name make him a pivotal figure, even decades later. Imagine Spencer returning to the Yellowstone Ranch with the wisdom and scars of his past. His character could take on the role of a guiding patriarch, instilling in the younger Duttons both strength and caution while navigating whatever challenges 1944 throws at them. He might represent the bridge between traditional values and the unpredictable future. Would he still carry the adventurous fire that defines him, or would he have mellowed into someone more thoughtful and cautious? Either way, Spencer's presence could completely alter the dynamic of the family, perhaps even redefining what it means to be a Dutton. Then there's the ripple effect Spencer's reappearance could have on the family legacy. By 1944, the Yellowstone Ranch is likely under siege from external threats and inner turmoil, as is the Dutton family's curse. Spencer could very well be the stabilizing force that either unites the family or magnifies its fractures. Could he take on the role of a mentor to the next generation, warning them of the sacrifices required to hold on to Yellowstone? Or, given the complexity of his character, maybe Spencer's return brings additional tension or unresolved grudges. The possibilities around his evolution and past choices make his potential involvement in 1944 endlessly fascinating. And of course, there's the question of his relationship with Alexandra. If she's still in the picture, how has their bond stood the test of time and hardship? And if not, what personal heartbreaks have weighed on Spencer in this new chapter of his life? These unanswered questions might hold the key to understanding whether Spencer's character stands as a symbol of strength or as a tragic figure in the Dutton Saga. Seeing an older Spencer wouldn't just add to the story, it could completely reshape how we view the legacy of Yellowstone and its complicated, layered history. Who will star in 1944? Casting possibilities. Taylor Sheridan doesn't just cast roles, he crafts legends. Every actor he brings into the Yellowstone universe becomes part of something bigger. A legacy soaked in loyalty, violence, and the unforgiving land the Duttons fight to protect. With 1944 on the horizon, he has the chance to reshape the Dutton dynasty through a fresh, gripping cast. This isn't just about picking actors. It's about choosing the faces that will carry the emotional weight of a family built on blood and sacrifice. There's heavy speculation that 1944 could center on Spencer Dutton's son, which opens the door for a whole new generation of talent. Imagine someone like Jacob Elordi stepping into a lead role, a tall, brooding heir haunted by war and the burden of legacy. Or Glenn Powell, exuding charm and sharp wit, playing a Dutton cousin who returns from the battlefield only to face a war of a different kind back home. These aren't just actors. They're torchbearers for a franchise that thrives on intensity, charisma, and a hint of danger. And it's not just the men. 1944 could introduce a powerful, scene-stealing Dutton daughter, perhaps someone like Sadie Sink, who can go toe-to-toe with any cowboy and refuses to be written off in a man's world. Sheridan has already proven he can write strong, multidimensional women, and this series could be the perfect opportunity to elevate a fierce female lead who won't just survive in Montana, she'll take control of it. With the backdrop of World War II and a country in flux, these new Duttons could bring a very different kind of fire to the ranch. Let's not forget Sheridan's love for blending familiar faces with fresh blood. There's every chance we see younger versions of characters that fans already know, or even get unexpected appearances from actors like Cole Hauser or Kelly Riley in flash-forward sequence or voiceovers, tying the past and future together. Sheridan builds his stories like chess games, and casting is the opening move. If 1944 is going to redefine the Dutton legacy, then the actors stepping onto the ranch won't just be cast members, they'll be carrying the weight of an empire. 1944. Plot theories. With 1944 looming on the horizon, fans are already diving deep into what could be the most intense chapter of the Yellowstone universe yet. Theories are flying, and the most popular one centers around Spencer Dutton's son, possibly grown, hardened, and carrying the full weight of the Dutton name during a time of global war. If 1923 was about survival, 1944 may be about legacy, fighting not just to protect the land, but to define what it means to be a Dutton in a world that's changing fast and mercilessly. One major theory is that the ranch will come under serious threat, either from the government or rival landowners, using the chaos of World War II as a cover to try and seize control. With many able-bodied men off at war and resources stretched thin, the Duttons may be more vulnerable than ever. But this might also be the moment we see a new kind of strength emerge, perhaps from a new generation of Duttons who don't follow the old rules but make their own. The conflict won't just be on the battlefield, it'll be in the courtroom, the town hall, and right at the fence line. Another possibility? Internal betrayal. We've seen before that the greatest threats often come from within the family. With 2 decades since 1923, long simmering resentments or buried secrets could erupt in 1944. Imagine a cousin, raised on the ranch but resentful of his place in the hierarchy, stepping out of line. Or a Dutton who returns from the war changed, unwilling to fall in line with the family's brutal code. These are the moments where bloodlines are tested and loyalties break. The missing years. What happened between 1923 and 1944? Between the final shots of 1923 and the rumored beginning of 1944, there's a haunting silence, a 20-year gap that's never been fully explored, yet holds the key to everything the Duttons become. It's a stretch of time filled with global turmoil, economic collapse, and personal reckonings. The Dutton family doesn't just survive this era, they evolve in ways we haven't yet seen. The Roaring '20s gave way to the Great Depression, a time that would have tested their loyalty, fractured alliances, and perhaps buried secrets too dark to face. Then there's the question of leadership. Jacob and Cara Dutton's future remained uncertain by the end of 1923. If they're gone by the time 1944 begins, who steps up in their place? Is it Spencer, hardened by war and heartbreak? Or another family member we haven't met yet? Maybe it's someone outside the bloodline altogether. This missing era could have been when the Duttons truly began to transform into the political, powerful ranching dynasty we see in the modern timeline, setting the stage for rivalries, land wars, and even betrayals within the family itself. The world didn't stand still between 1923 and 1944. America went from prohibition to prosperity to poverty, and finally into another world war. Those years were full of loss and resilience, the perfect storm for Sheridan to weave untold tragedies and triumphs into the Dutton lore. Whatever happened during that time didn't just shape the ranch, it carved deep scars into the people who called it home, and those scars might explain everything that comes next. Where's Cara Dutton in 1944? Cara Dutton was the quiet storm of 1923, a fierce matriarch who carried the weight of her family on her shoulders while navigating unimaginable tragedy. But as the timeline jumps forward into 1944, her presence, or glaring absence, raises major questions. She's not just missing from early speculation and casting rumors, she's missing from the story entirely. So what happened to the woman who held the Dutton family together during its darkest hour? One possibility is that Cara passed away sometime between 1923 and 1944, a loss that would no doubt ripple through the Dutton bloodline. Her death wouldn't just mark the end of an era, it would signal a power vacuum, one that could lead to internal conflict, disarray, or even a reshaping of the family hierarchy. Without her moral compass and strategic mind, the Duttons may have been forced to navigate Montana's evolving political and economic landscape without the wisdom of their strongest leader. But what if she didn't die? What if she simply stepped back? Perhaps age, grief, or changing times pushed her into the background, living out her final years away from the ranch spotlight. It's possible she plays a quiet but powerful off-screen role in 1944, shaping the family's decisions from behind the scenes. Or, in classic Sheridan fashion, Maybe she re-emerges in a flashback or whispered memory, reminding everyone that even when she's gone, Cara Dutton is never truly out of the fight. Then there's the wildcard theory. What if Cara left, driven away by grief, betrayal, or some long-hidden Dutton secret? That twist would shake the very foundation of the family's legacy. After all, she wasn't just a caretaker. She was a fighter, a strategist, and arguably the heart of the Dutton legacy during 1923. If 1944 dares to explore what her absence truly means, we may uncover that Cara's story is far from over. It's just been buried beneath 2 decades of silence. Is 1944 the darkest chapter yet for the Duttons? If the Yellowstone timeline has taught us anything, it's that every generation of Duttons bleeds for the land. But 1944 might be the chapter where they nearly lose everything. This is no longer just about cattle and fences. It's a world at war, and the Duttons are facing threats from the outside and within. With the country in turmoil and the West transforming, the question isn't just whether the family survives, it's whether their legacy does. World War II casts a massive shadow over 1944, and that conflict may bring more than emotional scars. With sons off to war, daughters taking the reins, and enemies circling the ranch like vultures, the Duttons may be more vulnerable than ever. Government land grabs, broken alliances, and even betrayal from within the family could push them to the brink. This isn't just survival anymore, it's a reckoning. But what makes 1944 feel especially dark isn't just the violence or political strife, it's the emotional weight. Imagine a returning soldier who no longer fits the world he left behind, or a young heir who questions everything his family stands for. These are the kinds of stories that break bloodlines and reshape dynasties. If 1883 was about origins and 1923 was about holding on, 1944 could be about paying the price for everything the Duttons thought they owned. This could be the chapter where the Duttons are forced to choose, protect the ranch at all costs, or finally evolve. And in true Sheridan fashion, that choice won't come without sacrifice. Some may fall, some may betray, and by the time the dust settles, the Yellowstone we know may look very different. The question isn't whether 1944 is the darkest chapter. It's whether the Duttons can survive it with their name intact. The Duttons have weathered war, betrayal, and bloodshed, but 1944 might push them further than ever before. What secrets are still buried between the lines? What ghosts are coming back to haunt Yellowstone? Drop your theories in the comments. Let us know which character you're watching the closest, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the wild, unpredictable world Taylor Sheridan has built. Until next time, hold the line, because the Duttons sure will. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on TikTok for daily content.